Oh my goodness, hi! Oh my goodness, good morning! Good morning! Good morning, good morning. Thank you for the hero, Bob. Thank you for the hero, Bob. That's so awesome. I've never had a hero Bob before. This is so lovely. 2 hourly stream. Oh my goodness. That was awful. That was awful. I feel like I'm not someone who gets stressed very easily, but man, that stressed me out. That stressed me out so bad. But it's okay. It's okay. We're here now. We're here now, and we're chilling, and we're ice grilling, and I got a little bowl of Fruit Loops, dry Fruit Loops. Oh yeah, it's kind of awesome. Thank you for the 3 stream streak, Holly. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, and for getting first. That's so lovely of you. Bow, 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 bow. Good morning. 2 hour late. Yeah. Mm, I don't know. When I moved, the my internet service provider, I had a bit of an issue with it because it wanted me to use like I put in the change of address form, right? I was like, I'm moving, but I still need internet. And they're like, okay. And then they sent me a modem, but I was like, "Ugh, I already have my own modem. But then, like, my account was tied to the equipment. It was a whole process, but I got it figured out. And it was working all of yesterday, and it was working all of Saturday. But then today, I turned on my computer, and it was like, womp womp, you don't have internet. Oh my goodness. And I tried so many things, and so many sweet people were trying to help me out, and I still don't really know what happened. Maybe it was just an outage, but it was also like, please set up your equipment, and I already did that, and but it was fine. It's fine now, and we're chilling. Hold on. Sorry. We're chilling so hard. I was preparing the casket. What color casket would you put me in? What color what color casket would you put me in? That's an important question. I need to know. I need to know if I'm like slaying or not in the afterlife. Give me extra time to really get my hair done after I got out of the shower. Oh, what do you do to your hair? Do you blow dry it? Or do you like put product on it? Do you curl it? A purple and blue one? Wait, that's so cute. That's so cute. What a good one. You can start settling in. How are you finding your new place? Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you. Thank you, Shimp. I'm so glad you asked. I really like it. I really like it. I will say the kitchen is a little bit smaller than my old kitchen was, which is somewhat unfortunate because I really have a lot of random miscellaneous kitchen things and I don't really know where to put it all. So a lot of it is still sitting in a box. Like I have an ice cream maker and like 1 billion little baking things. Like I have cupcake tins and like little heart-shaped cake pans and like a billion cookie cutters and like stuff that you don't use regularly but like you don't want to get rid of it, right? I don't know where to put it. So it's a little unlucky, but this room that I'm streaming in is so big and nice, and I have these little fake plants in my window, and I have a little neon cinnamoroll sign that I didn't put up yet, but it's here, and I'm happy, and I really like it. I really like it. Also, the bathroom's a little bit bigger, so I have more room to put like my makeup stuff down, and I'm pretty hyped about it. Hi, Ryan. Fust is dead. No, but my internet was for a little bit, and that's why I'm late as hell. I think the outside is a dark color, but inside is definitely lined in pink. Oh my goodness. Did you guys ever play with Monster High dolls? It's kind of giving like Draculaura's little coffin. Like, I think she had a bright pink. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sora. That's so sweet of you. I'm not stressed anymore. I have Fruit Loops and you all are here and it's nice. It's really nice. It was just stressful in the moment because it's like, man, I really want to stream, and I want to go to judo later, and I don't want to like have a short stream. It might be a little shorter, but that's okay. That's okay. We're gonna have a good time. Yeah, I think Dracula, she came with like a little coffin that was like, I don't know if it was black on the outside and pink on the inside, or vice versa, but something like that. Something like that. It's really cute. I resonate with that heavy. A relatively large amount of hair for a dude, so it takes forever to dry. Ooh, I never really dry my hair. Like I'll towel dry it, but I just kind of let it air dry. I don't ever blow dry my hair unless I'm like going somewhere, but usually not. I don't have space for an air fryer. That's so sad. That's so sad. Oh, can we get some F's in chat for the lack of air fryer? Womp womp. Thank you for the lurk, Mick. And also, hello, Classic. Hold on, let me go to the Hades. Let me go to let me get this situated. I remember Hades is kind of a weird one. I don't remember if I have to be on Doxy or if it just takes a bit to like load up. I think it's the latter. Starting an application, so I'm gonna lurk for 20 minutes. Good luck on your application. Like a job application? That's crazy. Good luck, girl. You got this. Give me time to be gentle with my hair today instead of destroying it with a towel. So thanks for that. Oh, well, you could have put like a little towel hat on your head and watch stream with a towel on your head. That's what I would do. Hold on, I'm I'm situating. 30 stream streak. Shit. Thank you so much, Shrimp. That's so nice of you. It really is that shrimple, huh? Hmm. Shrimpleton. Oh, here we go. My goodness, everything is working out so regularly. We are so normal folk today. Okay, sorry. Sorry, we're pausing that music. Yeah, Hades! Oh, yeah. We're Hades in it up. I'm trying to think of what time I have to leave. Uh, I like to... I like to do my hair before judo. And it takes 30 minutes to drive there. So I think maybe I'll stream until like 5. Maybe a little after 5. And it'll be so good and so chill. Yippee! If I compress my hair, it wouldn't be nearly as soft and gracious as it is right now. Oh my goodness. I wish I had gracious hair. I don't even know what that means. Who up with gracious hair? Wait, I forgot how to play. What does this shield do?
What are the limits of your
After
power?
your bull rush, your next special throws multiple shields. So how's the game volume? Is it kind of loud? I feel like it's loud, but I don't know if it is. We pop in the biggest bottles when we beat up Dad tonight. Shit, that's so real. That's so real. Can't wait to beat up Dad. Turn it down a smidgoo. Smigoo. Okay. Okay. Oh wait, that's my egg background. Don't get that. Shout out to my very favorite retail shrimp for the eggs. For the egg background. My beautiful, lustrous, elegant, magnificent hair. Compressed, not today. That's kind of awesome. That's kind of awesome. You ever watch Adventure Time? Like the episodes where Finn takes off his hat and it's like really long and flowing and blonde? That's what I'm imagining your hair is. Honey, I'm just gonna go for it. Thumbs down. Sigh. JK, I'm on my phone. Wait, what are you JKing? Are we not popping bottles after beating up Dad? Is that what the JK is? Because that's kind of sad. I was looking forward to that.
No thanks.
I keep forgetting to say it made the egg background. I think you should say it in situations where, like, I'm not even there and nobody knows who I am. Like, I think you should go to the grocery store and be like, hey, by the way, I made Frost's egg background. Like, I think you should just flex that as much as possible. What game is this? Bruh! Jail. Straight to jail. Mods, time them out. Pokemon Shield. Sheesh. I like that one. Popping dad. What? What? Popping dad after beating up bottles? Have you guys ever broke a bottle before? I never have, but I think that's a cinematic experience. I'd like to experience that one day. Work time. Have such a good time at work. I don't want to knock anything away. Womp womp. I guess this is fine.
The power of the sea. Get out of here.
Get out of here. Man, imagine being British.
More brimstones?
Sadly, not that much hair. Barely past my shoulder. Ah! Past my shoulders. But blame that on the fact I was pretty much forced to cut it 1.5 years ago. Was it like for your job or something?
All set.
That's so sad. I think when a long hair boy has to cut his hair, an angel loses their wings a little bit. Like, if it's their own personal choice, that's fine. But if they're, like, forced into it, that's tragic. You asked what jail is this? You're going straight to game. Oh my god, that's so real. What game do you go straight to? Is it this one? It wouldn't be that bad to be in this game. Because realistically, like, you're not gonna be in Zagreus' situation, right? I feel like being an NPC in this game would be fine. Pretty regular. Speak! Ah! Man, that was so insulting. Like, I just got done with, like, the biggest scuff of my entire career, and then Stream Elements is feeling testy. What the hell? Speaking of Pokemon Shield, I completed the main game, including post-story. Just gonna go snag Regijackal, then summon Regigigas? Regigigas? I don't know how you say that Pokemon's name. That's so awesome. Is this a Curse of Agony or a Battle Rage situation? Losing hair after popping up dad battles? Oh, that's sad. Low Sweet Chariot. It's heartbroken. I love long hair. Anytime I see or hear somebody with long hair, I consider chopping their hair off. I tie it a little. I think it depends. I definitely prefer longer hair. It's just my personal preference, but I think sometimes when someone does a big chop, it's like, yo, you look awesome as hell. Gig gas. Gig gas? Oh, that doesn't sound as... that doesn't sound as exciting. We're agonizing foe today. I just finished read 3, so you go there. Punishment time? Oh. Yikes. Alright, I guess I will not be inquiring about the nature of this jail foe today. Oh my goodness. Ah! I can't wait to play V3. I think that would be a good time. Just what you should know, since you named my trainer Tofu and by extension Kimchi my starter. I feel like you played that so fast. I feel like you asked me for a Pokemon name like only 2 weeks ago. Maybe 2 weeks isn't that fast. So I don't know. I think Pokemon takes forever. Gragas mentioned? Like from Smite? Like the guy who like throws up on you? Gigas? Gigasy? I lost the plot.
This shield's about to get a whole lot stronger.
It attacks it twice, but does not knock foes away. Oh, I like both of these. Do you think attacks hitting twice would be better since they inflict doom? I think so.
Nice and
I
steady.
think so. Mailing you a knuckle sandwich for lunch? Can you mail me a normal sandwich? I'm hungry. What is a normal sandwich? Is that like a PB&J? No, I'd be scared to ask someone to mail me a normal sandwich. I'm picky. I feel like I wouldn't like other people's version of a normal sandwich. I only really like turkey sandwich. Pokemon games are piss easy. Beat Leon with just my starter, Clawitzer and Frostlass. Really? I don't know. I feel like they're so grindy. And turn-based combat is not really my favorite. Like, don't tell anyone, but even in Undertale, the turn-based combat,
What do we have?
it can get a little womp womp. But I feel like the fights are different enough that, like, you can put up with it and it's fine. But in Pokemon, I feel like all the fights are the same and they're boring as hell. Big ol' Gussy hiding in the den. Is he hiding in a den? What's he hiding from? From you? No, but what about like a really good deli meat sandwich and a baguette? Ooh. I mean, like, yeah, that sounds good, but
More ringers.
consider... They're probably gonna put like mustard on it. And then, like, then your day is ruined. Or like onions? Ugh. Like banana peppers? There's just too many things you can put on a sandwich that I do not vibe with whatsoever.
Delicious.
Grinding play Warframe? There's a reason I don't play Warframe every day. I like to play with other people, but I don't know. Playing Warframe by yourself is really not that fun. I'm not a grinder. I think the only game I ever like was loyally a grinder for was Genshin Impact. In like the first 3 years that it existed. I would treat that like the Navy. And my characters still aren't built nicely. I don't even know what I was doing all day, but I sure was playing that for
Care of that.
more than 3 hours on the daily. I played the remarks, which suck and you shouldn't buy. The remarks? Oh, for real? Not if you make it yourself. Then you can put garlic confit? What is garlic confit? Is that the same as aioli? But also, Apex, if you're making it yourself, that's like awesome. But if somebody's just mailing you a sandwich, then it might not even have that on it. It might have mayo and mustard and onion. And that's just, I can't bear it. Even the Valentine's event, that's different. That's different because I want cute items. Also, I woke up this morning and I was like, shoosh, I did not even make a schedule. And I could not think of games to play. I was like, man, it's Valentine's week, right? So I guess I gotta play that before the cute items go away. Oh my god, chat, I'm so sorry. I see that you're scrolling up and I'm missing some messages. Um, hopefully you guys are talking to each other and not to me. I want them too. Oh my god. Are you busy on Thursday? Ah! Thursday at noon 17 p.m.? Ugh. She's pretty good. She's no match to the mindless attack spam. Who's pretty good? Man, I think I was playing Pokemon Shield like 2 years ago, and I was having a great time, but I never finished it. I think I was too focused on trying to like collect all the Pokemon that I wasn't really progressing the story. I was just running around the like open world area and like doing the random trades with people. Womp womp. Oh my goodness, thanks for the hydrate. Hold on. Thank you. Garlic confit is literally a game changer, life changer, world changer. Is it like aioli? I've never. I don't really know what confit is. I may or may not have let my friends convince me to sink $67 into a drawing tablet I probably won't use. Yo, what's the first thing you're gonna draw? Also, haha, 6-7. Sign me up, Chief. Sorry, I feel like maybe it's rude to ask people in like a public space, because then it's awkward to say no. But womp womp. I didn't think about that. 6-7. Ah. Sorry, I can't spell today either. Man, it's hard being a Twitch streamer.
They had their chance.
It's hard to press buttons and also read.
Cheers, father.
There are other ways emulators. I refuse to touch emulators. What are you talking about? Oh, the newer Pokemon games. I see. I see. Has anybody played the most recent one? What was it called? Like A to Z or something like that? I know it's not rude. Just drag me in there. Oh my goodness, that's so nice. That's so nice. I will be dragging you.
Show me, Charon.
Just garlic that you bake in oil with spices, and it gets real soft and buttery. Then you can put it on the toasted bread, and it serves to the heavens. Oh, I'm not the biggest little garlic fella, but I go to Panera Bread sometimes. Not as much anymore. It's like low-key expensive, but it's so good. But I'd get their like little turkey sandwich, and it would have garlic aioli on it, and I thought that was quite nice. I quite liked that, so maybe that would be good. But I don't know if it's just oil and garlic. Like, are you just taking a bite into soft garlic? Is that good?
Why not?
Slamming foes into barriers creates a watery blast in the area. Who up watery blast in? Rupture. For 3 seconds, victim takes damage while moving. Wait, that's kind of awesome. But I would need more knockaway effects, I think. Hi, Azu! Oh my goodness, welcome in. Welcome in, welcome in. Let's try it. Legends Z to A was so disappointing. Legends Arceus is way better. Oh, this is so sad. Wait, Shrimp, what's your favorite Pokemon game? You seem quite knowledgeable. What is the Shrimp certified best one? I'm not surprised. Game Freak does not deliver very often. UPS went shittier. My goodness, I have serious beef with UPS. Or USPS. I forgot which one it was. But one time I sent my friend like a little care package, and I spent literally, like, I'm not even exaggerating, I spent hours on that care package. I like put like little puzzles in it and like little secret messages, and I worked so hard on it, and then they lost it. They lost it in the mail. It never even delivered to them.
Louts.
So now they're on my hit list. The garlic, it's so buttery and not spicy. Just garlic goodness. Whoever came up with that deserves a big kiss. Why? Why would the buttery ever be spicy? Is that? It's not regular. Is garlic usually spicy? What? I mean, not to play all the games on my own. Usually just helping a friend out in a fight. Whoa. Hold on one sec. In BAW's case, playing for a little bit before losing it. Like it was too hard? Or are you saying like you lost it, like you literally lost the physical game? They lost it. Yes! Yes. And I will say I left out some key information, which is the fact that I wrote a silly name on the mail. Did you know you could do that? You don't, like when you're addressing a letter or like a package, you don't have to write a name on there. Like they're not looking at that. So I wrote like a goofy, like, I don't know, it was an inside joke. It was like Dr. Jam Lover or something. But anyway, and then UPS lost it, and their apartment complex didn't know who to give it to or something because I wrote a goofy name on it, and then they like it got like returned to sender for some reason. And all of that is regular. That's just like normal stuff that happens, but they lost it. Like it got to my friend's apartment complex. I put a goofy name on it. And then the apartment complex was like, we literally don't know who this is. Return to sender. Okay, so that's normal. And then it got lost in the mail on the way back. So maybe if I didn't put a goofy name, it would have got to my friend with no issues. But in my defense, they shouldn't have lost it on the way back to me. Fuck this fella. They sent it to the real Dr. Jam Lover. Well, I hope the real Dr. Jam Lover enjoyed that care package. I worked so hard on it. I was so upset about that. It's fine. Guessing me mailing all my packages to Scrombly from now on. Yeah, like I've done that a billion times before. You just put whatever name you want. It doesn't even matter. They aren't even looking at that.
Centaur heart.
Yeah. I feel like I have not been locking in on this game. But I think I'm doing okay. I think my build is kind of nice. I think I just need to maybe focus a little more on positioning. Or we can just keep yapping about Scrombly and surely the button mashing will work out. You don't even need to be locked in. Really, you're just that good. Oh my goodness, thank you. Oh, you're so right. You're so right, and you should say it. Look, I took a lot of damage. But like, I have a shield, so in theory, I don't need to be taking any sort of damage. Whoops. This is half. Wait, maybe this is half. Maybe this is actually less than half. Listen, it's fine, it's fine. It's fine, I'm locked in. Oh, ouch. Oh, ouch, what the? It's so... It's fine! It's fine. Listen, this is warm up. We're warming up? Are you feeling warm? I'm low-key feeling warm. I was feeling hot, and then I turned my fan on. And I was like, no, I'm gonna get cold while I'm streaming. I gotta turn this off. Ah! But now I'm regretting that I turned it off. Because now it's warm. But maybe it's because I have a blanket on. Maybe that would do it. Like, come back here. I don't want to touch you because I'm so low. I think I lost my 3DS in my cousin's house before he moved out to some dip toy out there. Oh, so some dip doink out there is probably looking at my ex save with a Cyndaquil, and so it's logged. What did you name your Cyndaquil? That guy trained little Cindy well. Oh, that's so sad. I don't know if you guys ever bought like used games at GameStop, but I bought a few DS games used at GameStop back when GameStop was thriving. And I think I bought
Don't mind me, Father.
which one was it? It was either Pokemon Platinum or Pokemon Black. I don't know, it was one of those. But I guess whoever like sold their game to GameStop didn't delete their save file. So I was just playing on some really overpowered save file for a good few hours before I was like, man, I want to do my own thing.
My keepsakes.
But I don't know, whoever owned that game before me had like a bunch of shinies and like rare Pokemons, and it was so awesome. Not Cyndaquil, Chespin? Cyndaquil is Johto, I'm Supin. Oh, it's okay. I would not have called your bluff because I don't really... I don't really know. I don't really keep track of which gens have which starters. Oh, yippee! Check this out. And share a fishing plate. Oh my god. This is so slay. Kid Fuss was like, OMG, I'm so good at Pokemon. So she one-shots the whole game. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a bit of a gamer. What can I say? Put them in your Pokemon home? No, I didn't. I don't even know what that is. I just played a little bit with the overpower mods, and then I said, man,
Now we're getting somewhere.
I'm tired of this. I don't really know what's going on because I'm at the end of the game. And I just restarted it. I think it was fun. I want to say it was like my first Pokemon game, but maybe I'm getting confused. It was a long time ago. But my very first Pokemon game I ever played was Pokemon Platinum. And I had a little Turtwig. And I think I named him Leaf, but I'm not 100% sure. Yo! You never made a house? She never saved the shinies? No, do you have a house in Pokemon? I thought you just have this PC. You monster? No, they're just like... They still exist. They just, I can't access them anymore. They're just, you know, out in the world somewhere. On a little farm. A nice little farm with the rabbits in the sunset. And it's very pretty. And they're having a great time. I never got a shiny in a Pokemon game till Shield, where it got dug to right outside. Still inside? I think the only shiny I ever caught that wasn't on like Pokemon Go or something like that, I think was on Pokemon Shield for me as well. Cause you can like see them walking around, right? You don't have to walk through the grass and just hope that you're getting a shiny. So I got a little Rattata. He's green. I named him Grape. Imagine that was a shopkeep's personal game that they misplaced and sold the box. Well, they shouldn't have put it on the shelf. But it is kind of weird that it wasn't like a finished save file. Like, who sells their Pokemon game before they even, like, beat it? I guess they're like, man, I'm tired of this. Gotta play something else. Yo! Thank you. There's a housing system. You can use secret power, I think, on, like, specific holes in the walls. It's cheese. And you get a cool personal base, at least on Gen 3. What? I never heard of that before. Clear depleted forever. Oh. Surely they're fine. They're on a farm. They're scampering around.
Bonka.
Oh. That is some serious aura to pay, dude. 1,000 cinnamon sticks to bonk me when there's a bonk redeem for like a fraction of that price. Hi, Az. How's it going? Oh, thank you. I have a lot of shinies in SV. Wait, what is SV? SV. Soul Violet. I don't know what SV is. He's like passing down the torch to you. You were the chosen one and you deleted the save. Well, listen, I didn't know what was going on. The plot was not even introduced to me yet. I just had like a Steelix that was shiny or something and it was max level, probably really good stats. I don't know. You can see Overworld shinies in Arceus? Scarlet Violet? Oh. I see. I forgot that one existed. I haven't. I don't know if you can tell. I haven't played that much Pokemon. I really liked Pokemon Go. Wow. I played a lot of Pokemon Go a while ago. But then I had to delete it because I ran out of storage on my phone. Soylent and Violet? Oh my god, tag yourself. I think those are the two wolves that live inside of me. One of them is Soylent and one of them is Violet. Oh my god, a Chaos Portal Slurp? Oops. Man, I am not blocking anything. Plus Infinite Fusion win? Oh my goodness, when is Azu finishing Infinite Fusion? Die. The little Joltik that you caught for me, she's probably dead. I wish I could forget it existed. Shit was a flop? Really? Gen 10 Pokemon Violence. Man. It's like the same. It's just a remake of another game, but there's like photorealistic gore and blood. She evolved? She's not a Joltik anymore? Oh, I forgot about that. See, it's been so long since you played it. I don't even remember what she is. Oh, I would play Pokemon Fusion. I don't know how you download it. Is it like a sus situation? Like, do you have to go to a sketchy website to download it? Welcome back, Holly! How did it go? How did it go? Tell me about your application. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good do you feel about it? Again, because I'm being called out on it. That'd be so awesome. That would be so awesome. Isn't there a quote that's like, release the sacrificial Sinnoh? I think that's awesome. I have played to Target? Yeah! I hope you get it. I hope you get it. Oh, yeah. That Target discount go crazy. Avoid the websites. Infinite Fusion has an official Discord as the only real download to avoid virus-free uploaders. I have to join a Discord server for it. I feel like an 8. Yo, that's good. That's good. So many repetitive questions, though. Man. I bet you did really good. Pokemon from future gens based on the votes in their Discord. No, it's good. What if you just DM me the suspicious link and I'll click on it without asking any questions? Gen Poop and Poopier. What are you talking about? I think facing Morphos is chill. Why not? Yes, he told you? That's a good bit. Whoa. I'm not gonna say it's not a good bit, blah, but I am gonna say that I don't really know what's going on.
Suspicious text to
Oh.
speech boom pow kaboom.
Thank you, Zen. It was so awesome. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. Where's my lifesteal at? I miss her. I'm convincing Carrot Infinite Fusion is peak. Oh. Oh, thank you. I mean, it looked interesting when Ozzy was playing it. He was streaming it for a bit and it looks cool. I'm slightly nervous that maybe it's the type of game that really panders to like hardcore Pokemon players though. And I feel like I'm too much of a little baby. A little Pokemon baby. I don't know what's going on in there. I don't know if I'd be good at it. I don't know if it's beginner friendly. Hi, Chica. Hi. How are you? I applied to Walmart, Target, and Jack in the Box, and I want to apply to more places, but I don't know where. I don't know. Probably somewhere that, like, you think would be fun to work. I don't know. Do you think it would be more fun to work in retail or food service? I've personally never worked a food job because I think that would... I don't know. I feel like people get really mad about their food. So I don't think I'd want to work at a restaurant. Unless I was like a cook or something. I'd say it's casual enough. It's a really fun time. They teach you mechanics to the game pretty well, even when they're introducing ones from future gens. Oh, that's good. That's good. I'll play it eventually. I have I have a lot of long-term games on my backlog, but maybe that one's not. Maybe that one could be more casual. Just like every once in a while, it's like, let's play Pokemon. Hanging in there, but things are looking great. I hope the same for you. Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, I think things are going pretty good here too. I just moved and I'm having a great time. Food jobs low-key suck. Yeah. Like I said, I never had one, but I have some friends who like worked at various fast food chains and they did not have a good time. It's really beginner friendly. They wanted it to be accessible for people who just wanted silly fusions. Oh my goodness, that's me. Oh my goodness, that's me. I like looking at the fusions. I was a cook twice, disliked very much. Even though I do relatively like cooking. Really? I feel like cooking would be fun. I think just being like a cashier for a restaurant or like a waitress or something. I don't know. I imagine you get yelled at a ton. And that just... I don't think I could handle that. I'm not built strong enough for that. Honey! I was telling her on a fan game and those can be pretty hardcore sometimes. Oh, I missed what you were replying to. Oh, you're talking about regular Pokemon games. Yeah, I feel like the regular ones are kind of beginner friendly.
Hello, mates.
Oh my goodness, I don't know what I feel like there's other Pokemon fan games that look scary as hell. Like Delilah? Wow. My mod Delilah? I forgot what she plays. I think it's like Rejuvenation or something, or Reborn. I don't know, but those... those look scary as hell. What game is this? Mods! Mods, pull up Oza's house. I work at a customer service call line right now. Oh my goodness. And I thought I'd be terrible at it. Sorry. I'm so... I keep getting hit by those potion things. Because I hate talking on the phone, but it's actually better than expected if you chill and don't stress about it too much. Is your job like when people are having problems, you're the person they talk to? I don't know, I feel like that would suck so bad, because, like, nobody's calling you to have a good time, right? They're just like, everything sucks and I hate it. I'm gonna take it out on you.
He's back.
Gotta make fast play Pokemon Insurgents? What is Insurgents?
I accept this
What does that mean? Is that a fan game as well? What's the weather like where you moved? Oh, it's about the same. I didn't move super far. I just moved a few neighborhoods down. but I have more space now, which is so slay. Oh, maybe we need greater evasion because we're not dodging shit. Mods! Mods! Nuke the innocence for Oza's insolence. That's so real. Heads or tails? Oh my goodness, I always choose tails. This way. It's another fan game, and I played a little bit years ago. It's really edgy, super edgy. Ooh, wait, that sounds kind of nice. I like edgy. Yeah, I don't know. I want to say it was Rejuvenation. I never watched Delilah actually like play it, because she's not a streamer or anything. She's just a good friend of mine, and we'll talk about the games she's playing. And she was talking about how in this like little Pokemon fan game, there's like this orphan and this like serial killer. And I don't know, I was like, yo, that does not sound like Pokemon whatsoever. Oh, I don't think I've been using my special even a little bit. Yeah, maybe I should be doing that. Ugh. Hi guys, how are you? Oh my goodness, hi. Oh my goodness, hi. I'm doing so good. Ugh, I got a free Luxvo today. Man. Mods, Blobosa. I feel like some fireworks. Do you guys like fireworks? I really like looking at fireworks, but I have to wear earplugs. Ugh. I used to hate fireworks so bad as a kid. Like, they would just make me cry so hard. Because I cannot handle loud noises. Am I getting smoked out? Where the little guy's at? Oh, hi! Yummy! There's orphans and Pokemon. Do you remember Cubone? I do remember Cubone. But I feel like you have to, like, dig for that lore, right? You know, if you're being casual, maybe you just kind of gloss over that, maybe, perhaps. There's a redeem to blow someone's house up? Is that real? It's not? Wait, that sounds awesome! Wait, it's removed? Oh, the timeout. I thought you meant, like, literally... Wait, that would be so funny. I want to blow up house redeem. But I want it to be called blow up house. I don't want it to be called timeout someone else. My goodness, thank you for the hydrate and stretch. When do we get a sideways fast redeem? What do you even need that for? What do you gain from that? Funny? How much should it cost? How much should a sideways... I don't even know if my model can go sideways nicely. Cause she rotates... I'd have to really think about it. I don't know how to go sideways. Mm, hold on. Hold on. I don't know how to rotate. Can I be honest? Like, I can rotate on this axis. Whee! And I can rotate like this. But I don't know how to be sideways. What if we went upside down? We're not sure about it. We need to see the sideways first. Oh, that is so ridiculous. Hey, Fusty. Hey, Holly, what's up? You can? I've done it in BC Faceover. Okay, close your eyes if you don't want your immersion broken. Mm-hmm. Mm. This isn't rotating shit. What is this? What game is this? Mods! Blow up her house. What is this changing? Clip. What are you clicking right now? My immersion is ruined. I didn't have a good enough warning. Bro! Height? What is leap motion? Does anybody... Do you see this, like, white brick that I that I'm rotating? Does anybody know what this brick is? I kinda like it. I kinda like it. I don't know what it's for. They're rotating a little stick in the air. What is this stick? Oh, it rotates with me. Yeah, just because you asked so nicely, we can keep the brick. I don't. It was so nice of the developers to give me little brick settings. Oh, we can make it bigger. Wow. This is so awesome. It can be over here. Oh. Wait, maybe we can't. Maybe we can't keep the brick. Maybe it goes away. Unless you want to see the whole menu just to look at the brick. Rotated brick ass. Oh my god. Mods, blow up this comment. Just the comment? Shrimp, do you know what this brick is? I hope I didn't, like, just mess up some important settings. Okay, hold on. Effect settings. Okay, I could glow pinkish? Ooh, wow. This is cool. Uh-huh. Oh my god, that's scary as hell. We could be possessed? Okay. We could... Okay. This is so awesome. A little blurry. I turn this on sometimes. Excuse me. I turn this on sometimes, but it's only noticeable on, like, my tail, I think. I guess my arms. Okay, that's how we do Smurfast. I love that scary lighting. Last Halloween model sneak peek. I don't know what you would, like, want this for. I guess we could look sickly in, like, a little bit extra 3D. I don't know who would do this. Wait, low-key, maybe the, like, black on the face looks kind of cool. Maybe that's kind of awesome. Okay, grainy, slay. Uh-huh. Oh, wow. That's awesome. This is... Wow. It's kind of fun. Are you guys having fun? I'm having kind of fun. Ooh. Ooh, wow. Yeah, I don't know how to rotate sideways. I really don't know how to do it. The brick is her hand tracking thing? Oh, I don't have a hand tracking thing. I hope I don't ever get one, and then I go to do it, and then it's all messed up because I rotated the brick 8 times. I love the scary lighting. This is just like when I turn off the lights in my house and put my phone flashlight in the sink to lip sync dramatically. What song do you sing in that lighting? Like, what song would warrant that level of, like, spooky? Manga Fest? Oh, man. I don't know what game that would be fitting for, but I did think that was kind of cute. I kind of like that one. Maybe when I stream a Mori, we could just be manga. Gotta restart my phone. Oh my goodness! Good luck, good luck. Many songs. Many songs. Me when I'm singing Demons by Imagine Dragons
That's nice.
with my sync light. I have the hand tracking thing, it sucks, and webcam hand tracking works like the same. Did you have to buy like a bar? I don't know what they're called. But don't they sell things for hand tracking if you don't want to use your webcam? I didn't know that they sucked. Blah. I don't know anyone who has ever used one. But I would have assumed they'd be good. That's unfortunate. That one of all songs? Well, I thought it fit in with the vibe you were going for the best. Is that not one of the many songs? It's where my demons hide. It's where my demons hide. Don't get too. That song is so awesome. I haven't heard that in a long time. I'm gonna cue it up. In like 8 minutes. Whoa, my goodness. It's called a leap motion. Oh my god. I used to have a little handheld console thingy as a kid, and it was called a leap pad. And I think it was marketed as like an educational thing, but I was not using it as an educational thing. I was playing like a Nintendogs knockoff. While my mom thought I was doing math. My ass was not doing math. Ouch! Aw, man, this is a warm-up, by the way. I don't know if you knew this, but this particular run is a warm-up. Lip syncing in the mirror is self-care, by the way. You all gotta do it. Oh, I haven't really tried that. I like pretending like I'm in a music video. Whoa, but I've never done so in a mirror. This has kind of poggers. Okay. Wait, things are going fine. Surely I make it to that one little dude who replenishes my death defiances, and then we can just pretend like all these deaths never happened. I also had a leap pad. Yo! Shout out the leap pad. Whoa. Can't say Demons by Imagine Dragons is in my invitation. I fear. It's a pretty nice song though. I liked that one a lot. I liked that one a lot when I was in, I don't know, maybe like elementary school. Maybe like 5th grade. my goodness. Hi, Shan. What? Oh, I thought I died. Hi, Shan. Thank you for the hydrate and stretch.
Heads.
No, I feel like Imagine Dragons gets clowned on a lot because it's so, or at least it was so like mainstream and popular. But I don't know. I kind of like a lot of their songs, and I will die on that hill. Hold on, I'm gonna mute to cough. Hmm. Okay, all better. Also, welcome back, Holly. Ugh, my hydrate and stretch didn't go through earlier. Really? It did. Ugh. I thought I hydrated and stretched 12 minutes ago, but I can do it again. Um, you gotta really perform like you have a moderately sized concert. Not too big, so you can still be sassy and find someone in the crowd to sing to. Wait, that's so whimsical. I love that. They have some songs I can vibe to, but they definitely aren't a staple of my playlist. That's valid. They're not for me anymore either. But I did used to like them quite a bit. Like, I think they had a lot of
Still
really
there,
big
are you?
songs that people would complain about, and I was
I
like,
am indeed.
man, I think natural is pretty nice. But I guess people will just complain about anything when it gets too big.
Should I change things up?
I get too much hate from the rock fans. It's all snobbery, but rock fans will always claim something isn't rock enough. I do remember, I don't know if it was like an award or it was just like a Spotify category or something, but Imagine Dragons did get something for like best rock, and everyone was like, that's not rock. And like, man, I really could not care less. I just think they sound nice. Maybe it did, I'm confused. I don't know, but I did it again, so we're all safe. Rock fans don't know what a rock is. Rock fan, I don't know. Honestly, that's because you don't go outside. You need to go outside and like look at a rock, and then maybe that will help you. Sorry, is that too mean? With all the love in the world. With all the love in the world. Does that make it better? Listen, I'm sorry. I'll just never forget about that time you were like, yeah, I haven't gone outside in like a week. Like, I just think about that so often. Oh my goodness. Pika Bee! Rock fans hate to see metal fans, grass fans, water fans come in. Oh my goodness. I think I would be a water fan. Or maybe a grass fan. I don't know, those are both good options. Surely then Foss stop making fun of me? I touched you like 2 days ago. Yeah. That's pretty good. That's not horrible. I just feel like if we made a calendar and we put a little check mark on every day that you went outside, it would probably be less than half of the month. And I'm not here to judge you for that. I'm just saying, maybe that would help you a little bit if you touched a rock. Maybe that would benefit your mental health, your spiritual health to touch a rock. Ugh. I'm so productive. I got my government ID. Yo, wait, do they have to? Whoa, ouch! Why did that hurt so bad? Do they have to take a picture? Ugh. I kind of like getting my picture taken if I'm expecting it. If I'm not expecting it, then it's like the worst day of my entire life. But if I'm prepared ahead of time, then I'm slaying. Not to brag or anything, but I think my driver's license picture is very cute. My hair is curly. Ugh. And I have really nice eyeliner on. Yeah, not to brag. But like a little bit of bragging.
Goodbye for now.
Goodbye for
Good
now.
for your health.
Surely touching snow is the same? Oh my goodness, wait. I love touching snow. That sounds so lovely. What if there's a foot of snow on the ground? Guys, I think that's valid. Touching snow is valid. Maybe even better for your spiritual health. They did. I low-key wasn't sure what expression to make. Yeah. Wait, you didn't smile? You didn't smile? You were just like mewing? That is some crazy aura. I kinda love that for you. A band I like, Turnstile, just won a Grammy for Best Metal Album, and people were complaining that the band Ghost should have won because that's real metal. Well, until now, I've only seen people complain that Ghost itself isn't metal enough. So I guess true metal is an abstract, unreachable concept. Yeah. Unfortunately, I feel like that's how everything is. Ugh. Anytime... I think anytime there's like an award or like you're trying to uplift a certain thing, there's always gonna be some haters out there. Blah. Blah, 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 blah. We live in a society. Smoke cigarette. It's like absolute zero. You can never really get there. Let me be honest, I don't really know what metal is. Ah! Is metal just like rock, but people are screaming, or is that screamo? I don't think I really.
To press on.
It's hard for me to know the different genres. Gotta head back. Have a great rest of stream and day. Oh my goodness, thank you. I hope you do too. Yippee!
Fix that.
Turnstile good. Great songs to lip sync in the mirror. With sync light. Oh yeah. I don't really know anything about them, but that sounds poggers. Maybe you need to go touch a factory or something. Low-key, maybe I do.
Just what I need.
I've never done like hard manual labor. I helped my dad like work on cars before. But you know, it was like my dad, so he did the hard parts. Sigh. Let me pack my bindle and go to the let me go work at the metal factory. Oh, can you only? I also wouldn't classify Turnstile as metal, but now I gotta defend them from the haters. What would you classify as metal? Like, what does that mean? I love you too, Dad. That's so awesome. Hi, cuties. How is everyone? How?
Gesture.
Good. I'm doing so good. On my way to the metal factory. I like my music carbon fiber. Okay, what does that mean? Can you recommend me a good carbon fiber song? Urge to kill.
On Olympus, I'm your closest confidant. You'd
That's
best
not
remember this
real.
before you spurn me again.
You are not my closest confidant.
Didn't have much choice.
I'm glad you're doing great.
Yes.
Also, what is this game? Man, if you didn't put the /J, I would have had no choice but to blow your house up. Ugh. You're on thin ice, Buster. Not even an ant bindle. Stop me.
He's trying to respawn.
Yeah, what can I say? Oh my god. What can I say? Ugh. Living large. Just kidding. Whoa. I would say I'm living medium. What? Yo. Surely Ken Ashcorp would be in the genre somewhere? Really? That's carbon fiber? That's kind of awesome. Maybe I also like carbon fiber music. Oh my god. It's gonna take 8 years. Ant Bindle. Oh, man, I feel like I don't remember what it was, but there's an ant somewhere. I really don't know what situation I was in, but there's an ant mentioned, and it was like, haha, don't tell Azu about this. And I wish I had more information for you, but just know that you were thought about. I don't know, I think rock is just on a spectrum of heaviness, with classic dad rock at one end, and black metal on the other, and there's a lot in between.
Exacting vengeance is just something we Olympians all do from time to time.
I feel like in my head, rock is just like the miscellaneous other category. Like if it's not hip hop or pop or K-pop or like jazz, as I guess, it's probably rock. Oh my goodness, thank you for the hydrate. Do I have any deflection? Oh, my special deflects. I think that's low-key it. I'm not building shit. I'm just hoping for the best. We'll go with this one then. They low-key couldn't name it the miscellaneous genre, so we went outside and saw a rock. What kind of joke is that? Oh my goodness, Zeus, let's go. Actually, what about electronic music? What about my boy Aphex Twin?
It's that big soul catcher again.
Well, with electronic music, you hear it and you're like, oh yeah, this has got some bleep wops in it, so this is electronic. I don't know, I feel like rock is just like regular music. Is that real? Like, I feel like if it doesn't have a very specific distinguishing feature, then it's probably rock. Like vanilla ice cream. Like, it's good, but I think it's just like the default, right? Bleep blops? Yeah. Yeah, like the little computery sounds. Is that is that real? I think that's real. Surely somebody gets me.
Among these Twitch catacombs, one such passersby could draw likewise conclusions regarding Faust and white mammals who, while small in stature, compensate for a world-sized libido, entering Elysian holes. This element is deeply regarding the chronic tardiness of fox and hare. Woe to thee, woe, fuck.
What? I'm so lost. What white mammals are you talking about? Small in stature, like a bunny? Also, world-sized libido. Is that referring to the mammals or to me? Or to something else? Dilzy, I don't know what you're saying. The rabbit? From Alice in Wonderland? Okay. So, are you saying the rabbit from Alice in Wonderland fucks, or like what? What are you talking about, bro? Okay. Thank you. Who's late, tardy like you? Yep. I've been live for an hour and a half, right? And so if anything, you're tardy. Like, I was tardy, but then you were tardy to my tardy stream. So I think it cancels out, like, double negative. Surely the rabbit fucks. It's a rabbit, of course he fucks. Oh, I know that rabbit fucks. Oh. Let me write that down. Do you guys ever get those, like, sad TikToks about the white rabbit? Like, it's just, like, the image of the rabbit holding a clock. And then it's like you're running out of time in like a sad way. Those are low-key so depressing. Like, I don't think they're always meant to be depressing. I think it's supposed to be the same vibe as like This Too Shall Pass. But I don't know, it makes it makes me sad. We've all been with the rabbit from experience. Okay. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, pause. Pause. Let's rewind a little bit. What do you mean by that? Who is we? Who is we? I know you're not including me in that we. Well, I just need to know if you could just like release a list of names for that we statement. That would be very beneficial to me. I think.
Farewell for
Late
now,
to an
Sinister
important
Bowl of
date, a fuck
Butterflies.
date? Bro, it was... Wasn't it just croquet with the queen? That is really funny. I haven't seen it in a sad context. Really? Really? I don't know. I saw one that was like... it was like a video of like two friends or whatever, like one of those like aesthetic things, and they like on the swings and like going on a walk and like splashing in the beach, and it was like, this is what life was like before that rabbit got to us. It's like, oh, like they're not friends anymore, like they ran out of time. That makes me cry a little bit. Vanilla, ah yes, the flavor produced by the seeds of a tropical orchid, a flower which blossoms for a single day before dying, the second most expensive spice in the world. Just that. I'm not dissing vanilla. I really, really like vanilla. I'm just saying, I don't think you can argue that it's not like default. Like it's very common. At least for ice cream. Croquet is what it's called now, huh? La la la. Awoo hobo. Haboo. Knee slapper. What are you talking about? Surely part of the list too one day. Is that a good thing? I want to think about the passage of time. I just listened to Time by Pink Floyd on loop while lying on the floor. 10 out of 10 would recommend. I don't think I've heard that one. I don't think I ever want to think about the passage of time. There's one song called I think it's called Stop This Train by John Mayer? And that one's also about the passage of time, and it makes me cry a little bit. I'm dead as hell. I can't even go into this portal because it'll kill me.
Took a beating, I guess.
Sigh. I just find it funny that vanilla being all of that is also considered the default. Well, yeah, it was just so good. It's just so good. I don't really know the history of vanilla. I know it used to be like incredibly rare, but I don't know at what point it became like so widespread. But I think that's kind of awesome. Is vanilla ice just normal ice? Sure. Yeah, I think so. Vanilla ice is just normal ice to me. Just a glimpse into my sick, twisted vanilla lifestyle. I'm so dead. I'm so dead. I'm so dead. How could this happen to me? Just kidding, I got that mineral. Good song, incredible lyrics. But they make me very, very stressed. That's what I'm saying. I think time stresses me out as a concept. Oh my god, fish. Everyone sent through Passage of Time songs. Oh my god, we could make a Spotify playlist that's just the Passage of Time. Sick, twisted vanilla lifestyle. Yeah, that's me. That's me. Yo, a Sharp. Wait, it's cute. I like that one. Weather's getting warmer. This sucks. Oh, I'm so sorry. That does suck pretty bad. Oh my god, the little guy. Vanilla became so widespread because people figured out how to create synthetic vanillin, which is the most potent flavor chemical in vanilla. Oh, that makes sense. I guess that's why, like, sometimes you get ice cream and it's like the yellow, like, not that good. Like, it's fine, but it's just like yellowish and not the same. You gotta get like vanilla bean where it's got like the black stuff in it. I imagine that's probably vanillin versus real vanilla. Yes, yes. You guys want to hear about a thing that happened at my job? Oh my god, yes! Wait. Yes. I wanted to feel included. Yippee! Yeah.
Just checking up on you, sir.
Okay, we got all of our life back. Surely, surely if I focus up, I have a good enough build. Yup. Oh, I forgot about this rupture thing. For 3 seconds, victim takes damage while moving. Oh boy. You said yes already though? Yeah, but I wanted my I wanted the word to be next to your guys' words. Like me just saying yes out loud into the air. It doesn't have the same level of solidarity. And a lot of this is based upon specials. I guess I should be using my special more. You're not part of the group, bro. That's cool. What do you mean trying to act hip and cool? Bro, I am cool. Go back to the streamer room. Okay. Okay, I'm in the streamer room, I guess. Chad's having his own party. Alright. I guess I'll just like ignore you. I'll just be playing Hades and not reading chat. And then you guys can just like talk amongst yourselves. Like it's a chat room. We'll be like parallel playing. Sigh.
First,
Bro, that's not how that works. Why did you do that? Sigh. I go eat. Good night, everyone. Sweet dreams. You will sleep eventually, so you're not allowed to say wrong time zone. Thank you, Kuko. Thank you very much. I will surely remember to have sweet dreams in like 11 hours. Surely she can take my spot. Goodbye, chat. Wait, don't leave! Don't leave! Come back! What the hell? I messed up. Eat those hot dogs? Which I'm on first? First does not get like a complimentary hot dog. Did you know that? Did you know that first does not get a hot dog? I don't have any hot dogs to give. Unless you're giving out hot dogs. I guess that's different. You're allowed to do that if you want. But like I'm not paying for it. You can't sit with us. Man. Why am I getting hate? What? Wait. Why am I losing so bad? OMG, I have a hot dog? I want a complimentary
Second?
hot dog. Bro. You can't first and second. And also, I don't have hot dogs. Actually, Megan, I can't sit anywhere. Dilsey, I don't even know what you're referencing. No way, bro does it again. I wanted second. Are you just... Okay, wait. You gotta level with me. Do you genuinely have a bunch of channel points to just be doing TTS? Or are you using your little mod powers and refunding your channel points and then recycling them to just say different things? I feel like this is mod abuse. I can't prove it, but I have a sneaking suspicion that this is mod abuse. I'm not cheating? Alright, if you say so. If I was a mod, I would do that. I am not a mod for anyone. And I don't want to be a mod for anyone. But if I was, I would totally just like refund. Like I would abuse the hell out of that. I would refund everything. This lady called me today to complain about a movie she went to. And everyone hated it. And showed me one person who'd enjoy this. So I lied to her that I watched the movie and liked it. What? Sorry. And liked it because I wanted to argue. And she got very, very mad. And said I shouldn't work there, but it's okay. It was really fun. But she said you shouldn't work there because you didn't have the same movie opinion? What? That's so goofy. Everyone shut up. Okay. Well, that's not. That's so interesting. You don't even mod your own chat? Yeah, I really don't. Well, sometimes I do. If it's like a serious situation, I mod my own chat. But, low-key. Low-key, I kind of get nervous. So shout out to my mods for doing things for me. Pants are soiled. I would have modded Frost next stream, but now that I know she would hack in RLRs, I can't anymore. I don't want to be a mod. Because if people are misbehaving, like, I don't want to be the jerk. I want someone else to be the jerk, you know? But yeah, I would... I would definitely hack out RRs. She said I have bad taste. I got so mad at her saying that I had to defend something I haven't seen. It's the principle. No, I think you're so real for that. I feel like it'd be hard to defend something that you haven't seen because like you don't even know what's going on, right? So I feel like you couldn't even give specific examples. But that's so cool that you were able to pull that off. You have to watch the movie now? Wait, you do! You have to watch it and then see if it's actually something you would defend. Pressuring Foss to be the jerk and time Tommy out sounds fun? Yo! Man, that's messed up of you. Gonna time out the streamer. Guess I'll do this one because it's faded. Bing. Bro, Prophecy fulfilled. Let's go. I'm really nervous. Maybe not nervous. I'm just not very confident. I really don't like these fellas.
Our sworn enemy.
Ah, sworn
So
enemy.
mysterious.
Man.
Let us assert our greatness through single-minded combat.
This would be such a good character design if he didn't have the ugliest gloves I've ever seen in my whole life. Lock in, we believe? Okay. Let me eat some Fruit Loops. Can we lock in? I'm locking in, I'm locking in. I'm eating Fruit Loops to lock in. What's happening? Don't worry about it, sweetie. Don't worry about it, sweetie. You just sit there and look pretty. Friends and family, we're all twins here. I'm low-key realizing I'm in a miserable situation. And it take my friend time to get over it. Oh. I'm so sorry to hear that, Osa. I wish you the very best of luck. Make sure you take very good care of yourself. You got those blue Saitama gloves? Saitama? Is that from Dragon Ball? I don't really know Saitama. I haven't watched a lot of boy anime. Dilsey always looks pretty real. Okay. I'm Fruit Looted up. Okay. I'm hydrated. Okay. Okay. Locking. Ugh. Oh my god, not locking. Oh my god, I'm unlocked. Yo. I think this lock is broken. Sheesh. Okay, wait, maybe everything is chill. Oh my god, it's not chill! Oh. Oh, ouch. Okay. No, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Everything is awesome! Everything is cool when you're part of a team. Oh my god. Ugh. You're mine. And imagine being British. Raise your hand if you're British, and then mods time out everyone who raises their hands. Locked. Man. This is so sad. Ouch. Ouch. Okay, okay. I got one of them. I got one of them. Oh. My model is like drifting. Okay. Okay, sorry. Locked. Locked. Yo, stop blocking. Okay. Unblock, please. Brick is breaking her? Oh my god. Wait, is this brick diff? No, it's fine. I'm bricked. I'm bricked. Bricked up for real. Oh, oh, ouch. Ouch. I'm not bricked up for real. I lied. Ow, 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 ow. No! Last chance. Ah, hell no. Why did everything hurt so bad? Yeah. We're on like the same amount of health, which is kind of concerning. He keeps blocking stuff. Okay, wait. He's so dead! Okay. Okay. Chilling. Chilling. Chill.
Good enough, I guess.
Wow, that's a little unlucky. But it's chill. We're so chill. Uppercut, my lady. Throw him in the wash closet in it. Oh my goodness. What does that even mean? Left hook, love. Dilsey, are you British? She knows nothing of One Punch Man? Oh my god, don't call me out like this. I've seen other movies from this director and I liked them. She's not completely lying. She's like, why did your creative committee choose to show this? They have trash taste. Lady, this will win awards at Canes? Canis? Canes? People want to see it. If you don't like people getting murdered, maybe read the synopsis where it clearly says the plot has murder. Yeah, I think that's on her. I think that's on her. I think, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why she called about it. She's like, no, but I've seen this director's other movies. They're not violent like this. Complete bull. This guy loves smashing heads. And he's very proud of it, as he should be. I would have hung up on her. Not actually. I'm not brave enough to do that. But if I was, I would have just hung up on her. Bricked up for real? I almost saw that honeycomb pop in her mouth. Yo, it's not a honeycomb. It's a Fruit Loop. Man, inflation got to the honeycombs. Honeycombs are like $5 for a box. So now I have to get off-brand Fruit Loops. For $3. I gotta save money. British as the Dickens? Oh my god. Oh. That is so unfortunate for us. Oh yeah, I got Lucky Tooth. Sling!
Should be useful.
Prometheus Stone. Wow. You betrayed Honeycombs. Honeycombs betrayed me for being $5. In this economy,
Surface.
you think I have $5? The time I have to leave is steadily approaching. I must time advance like so. This is so sad.
Gods grant me a swift satyr sack.
I'm so sorry. $5 is crazy for some cereal though. I know. I know. I think a lot of the name brand cereals are $5. So I get the off-brand ones, but there's no off-brand honeycombs, which is so messed up. The only off-brand ones they have is like Fruit Loops and Frosted Flakes and like the shredded wheats and Cheerios. Sigh. Guess honeycombs aren't popular enough to have little ripoffs. Not gone yet. Gonna be within the next 30 minutes or so. Oh my goodness. We got like a countdown timer. Time until Carrot departs. This is so sad. I knew Frosties were superior. Man,
All these
shut
troubles.
up. Don't want to hear about your Frosties. Sigh. You clearly have enough. Install a giant fucking hamster fountain? No, it's like I did have enough in the past. And I spent all my money on a giant hamster fountain. And now I'm low-key broke.
Not poisoned at the moment, thanks.
And I have no honeycombs. That sounds so ominous. Time until I depart and the world turns red. Yeah, that would be a good book title, I think. Time until I depart. Wha- These rats are
Not bad.
a bit poisony, huh? There once was a ship pursued through milk by pirates. What? By pirate sirens and all their ilk. They will all want a taste of Captain C, but the secret of Crunch goes down with me. Is that a saying, or did you make that up in your head?
Wealthy vermin.
Why? Why is that low-key kind of good? Time until I depart. A story about me. And the moment I depart. Oh, that's not 30 minutes though. That's like, you gotta wait like 3 days for that one to happen. Boing. I'm the ideas man. I can add time until I depart to my list of things I made totally on my own. I feel like that'd be a really good
Exactly what I need.
I feel like that'd be a really good what do you call the genre of game? RPG? You know, they have like At Home Alone and like Paper Lily, like that kind of game. I feel like Time Until I Depart would be a good title for a game like that. 3 days generous. Well, you know, we gotta give him some sort of credit. But surely he has to go to school at some point. I don't know. I guess I don't know when your new semester starts. Is that soon? Is my semester break? How long is the break? That's so weird to me. I've only ever heard of schools that like the semester ends in December and then it starts again in January. And then it ends again in May. And then you have like summer off. But if it ends in like January, do you still have normal summer break? Or is everything all pushed back? I don't know. It's a weird concept. Oh my god, I'm poisoned. Oh. No, my bathwater, give me... Oh, I was pressing F instead of E.
I'm empty.
I'm empty. Oh man, imagine being empty. Ah. Thank goodness. Technically soon, we're gonna be online the first week. Our summer break is not on summer. Our school wanted to be funky. We start the school year in September. Not in August? So everything is just pushed back a month, huh?
Tasty, sort of.
I guess that could be a good thing. If you're like on vacation or something. You could go on vacation like when everybody else is not on vacation anymore. So places might be like less busy. But that's the only benefit I can think of. August, most schools here start on June. It starts on June? But that's when summer break is. I always had it where summer break, like school usually goes to like the end of May. Well, sometime in May. Sometimes it's the beginning, sometimes it's the end. I guess it just depends on your school. But usually summer break starts either at the end of May or like the beginning of June. And you had June off and July off. And then a bit of August off. And then it starts again in August. At least the places I lived. Give me that. Normal school year ends on March and starts in June. What? So your summer breaks normally are April and May? That's like spring. That's not summer break, that's spring. My school is on the US season calendar. Are your seasons different? I thought we don't have spring. Like spring just doesn't exist. We don't have seasons. What the hell? So you're saying it's like in August and like December, it's basically the same weather? That sounds not fun at all. That sounds like it would get so boring. December weather is colder, that's it? So you don't have leaves? You don't have trees with leaves that fall? Is it just like palm trees? No. You don't have like an oak tree? Or like any flowering trees? No. Oh. I guess Philippines really is just like an island, huh? Leaves fall, but it's not bald.
Yes.
Yo! Your flex shot becomes a pulse that damages foes around you. What is flex shot? I low-key forgot. Oh, wait, that's awesome. Slurp.
Too willpower.
Oh my god! What the? Poseidon wants me for real. You cannot be stunned and resist some damage from bosses. Any pumps of power you find are more important. Oh. Like, I'm about to fight my dad. So I guess this one's better. Yippee! I'll go here first.
Maybe this
We'll
way.
save the hard ones for last. Oh. Wait, that's so nice. Where's my bathwater at? Sheesh. Slay!
Should I take the trade?
Oh. I don't want to sell anything. Although I guess it would suck if I had Death Defiance option. And then I only have $12. I can't afford it. Gamer God Bathwater. Wow. Yummers. I wonder what you like do with bathwater. Like I had a friend who had some Belle Delphine bathwater. I guess it just sits on a shelf. I don't know. I don't know. You like use it as seasoning? Of all the gods, who do you think would be a Twitch streamer? I don't know. Maybe Ares, cause he's like his whole thing is war, right? So I feel like he would just really love to rage at like FPS competitive games. But I could also maybe see Dionysus having a really good time being like an 18 plus like boyfriend, I guess, of our streamer. It's like a collectible bacteria. That's so awesome. That's so awesome.
Hey, a Satyr sack already.
Yo!
Oh, good.
Chomp.
It's
He's just
still
gonna
fresh.
vlog. Oh, wow. Charging into battle with a selfie stick. Do
Acquired
people.
taste.
I guess people vlog on Twitch. I don't think I've ever
the
seen
chute.
anybody with a selfie stick on Twitch. But I guess it happens. It's kind of awesome.
Could use the
I
rubber
think I
fishing
would
mirror.
follow him. I've seen one person. I guess I just don't watch that many real life Twitch streamers. I guess I mostly watch VTubers. Gup!
Pick up, huh?
Oh my god. Wait, that was cute. I like Gup. Okay. Maybe I'll do this one. And then go fight my dad. Pew. No, I get greedy with these. Like, I want to go to all the rooms, but I also don't want to go into the fight with, like, no health. Wait, my bathwater. Ooh. Yippee!
Not yet.
Man, I am gonna be in not a good situation.
Don't need a cure.
Oh, excuse me. I just looked and none of their redeems queue is cleared up. I've like seen that before and I really don't know what that means. I don't know. I don't know if it makes a difference for anything. Is it just so that you can like keep track of what? Oh my god, that sucks. Of what you already did? But like I know what I did. Like I hydrated a while ago. And I said Pika P a while ago.
Third,
Ow. Nerd. But like, what does clearing them do? Ha ha.
Good enough to eat.
Ha. Kinda, yeah. And I guess you could give away points by refunding the ones left there. I don't think I've ever refunded a point in my life. Oh my god! Slurp. Oh wait. I haven't used these at all. Maybe I should reroll to try to get the Death Defiance one. Yeah! I'm so smart and good at this game. Yo, third huge. You low-key can't refund the TTS because Sound Alert auto clears it. Oh. I didn't know that. Wait, are you trying to do that right now? Sigh. Sigh. Oh, what are you reacting to? I don't even see that message. Oh, we start the school year in September. I see. I just peeked. Is there a way to see if mods refunded their points? Can I be honest? I never go into the mod view.
Now for a chat with Cerberus.
Like, that's just not my business. Surely my mods know what's going on and they can handle it. I'll test it. Wait. Okay, you test it. Okay. You're 1 point. Wow, thanks for getting that first. Should I go into a room for more powers? Or Should I just go for it? I feel like it would be smart to just go for it. But I'm nervous. I'm nervous. Here, have some juice. Wow.
You enjoy that, mate. When it comes time to
You
reconsider
enjoy
your
that,
clan
mate.
structure, hope you think of me.
Wow. I don't have like any hearts with my dad. I guess we can't have any good bond with our dad, huh? Nyx is locked. Oh, I have not given him much, huh? I'm not a big fan of him. He makes fun of me, but not in a fun way. Hmm. I'm kind of lacking in a lot of these, actually. I haven't given her a gift. Sheesh. Okay. I'm gonna do one more. I'm gonna go Poseidon. And I'm surely not gonna die. And this will surely be a good idea. Yippee! My bathwater, come back! Oh my goodness. Okay. It's fine. Everything's going so normally. Loki, you cannot see. It's okay. My mods are allowed to commit a little bit of crime. The mod privilege. Oh, sorry. Bonked my mic. No, I know Tam said, well, maybe I shouldn't say. Maybe I shouldn't share Tam's secrets.
Tasty, sort of.
Somebody, not naming any names, some unnamed person told me that on somebody that they mod for, they just refund everything. And I think that's really funny. The individual Shirley. Yes, Shirley. What's okay? Tam mods for like 1 billion people. So surely that doesn't really narrow it down at all.
Chambers are a mess.
Surely his crimes will never be revealed. One person isn't watching. Wait, hold on, I can check. It doesn't say they're watching. Teehee. Oh my goodness, hi Icy! Pika V! Hi! Although I feel like the viewer list has been kind of sus lately. Because sometimes I'll be lurking in my friends' streams, and it doesn't even show me in the viewer list until I like type in the chat. But sometimes I don't really want to type in the chat because it's like, well, I can't really stay, I just want to support you, you know? But then I'm not in there. It's like, am I supporting you? I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm here. The viewer lists are sus with lurkers? That's so lame. Twitch viewer count is broken? That's a bit silly. Man, I just... Sometimes it's like, oh, I'm busy. Like, I'm playing a game, or like I'm on the phone with someone, or... I don't know, I gotta go do some chores. So I don't want to say hi, and then you like try to talk to me,
In the name of
and then I don't respond to you. You know? Well, I think that's pretty lame. Your attack and special are stronger in the first 10 seconds. Do you think I can beat Hades in 10 seconds? Thoughts? I don't think I can. We'll do Breaking Wave. Man, nobody stopped me. I'm at 31 health and I was at like 130. Sigh. They like when people message at least once every 30 minutes. Stupid since some like me likes to throw it on and then sleep. That is so sad. Man. You need like an auto an auto clicker thing that just types. It'll like send an emote for you every 30 minutes. Be kind of awesome. Terry is low-key lurking right now, but they're not on the viewer list. Man, this is so sad. This is so sad. I like looking at the viewer list and being like, oh, hee hee.
Solitary weakness,
Oh, hee hee,
Satyrs
my friends
acts
are liking.
proved terribly effective once again.
How about lurk redeem? Not auto procs and only costs 1 point? How do you auto proc? I know some people have like extensions that'll auto proc like the first redeem, which I think is goofy as hell. I don't really know how you do that. Good evening, Sin and chat. Hello. Good evening, Joru. I hope you're doing so good. Man, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. I don't think I can do it with 34 health and a dream. I like glancing at the list and going 3 elements. Man, if no one's got my back, I know Stream Elements does. Wait, there it says Teru's on the list now. Maybe it just takes a second. I really don't know. I don't know how it works. That's why. No, it's like yippee, Stream Elements. Just win? Okay, how do I do that? MG Teru is here. Cook for us, chef. Oh my god, real. I know I just had Fruit Loops, but I'm like low-key hungry. I'm low-key hungry. I don't know. I quit this game. Okay, thank you, Icy. That is so helpful. I'll never beat this game. Why? What? I really like this game. I think this game is probably a lot less hard than the games you play. I don't know what the like Elden Ring. That looks a lot more stressful. I do a bit tired though. Worked out a lot. You worked out a lot. Yippee! Oh my goodness, you're gonna be so strong and awesome. OMG, my new ult, Azu_Mazu, is also lurking, even though they can't chat because they don't have a phone number. Wait, why is it Azu_Mazu typed out like that? Also, shout out to Azu_Mazu_ for giving me 3 views right now. So nice of you. I don't know, Elden Ring easier than this? Nuh-uh. Okay, well I can't say that for sure. I've never played like a Souls game, but that looks hard as hell. I beat this game once and I put it into the shelf. Definitely. You don't want to beat up your dad 10 times? For MTV to start, you own Elden Ring? I do own Elden Ring. I feel like I'd get clowned on though.
Father,
If I could choose... If I could choose who was allowed to watch my Elden Ring playthrough, then I'd play it. But I feel like there's too many people who are good at video games that I just would not want to perceive me. Like, Icy would not be allowed to watch me play Elden Ring. Sura would not be allowed to watch me play Elden Ring. Anyone who's played the game before can't watch me play it. That's the rules. Yo, Elden Ring playthrough. Oh my goodness. 80 hours. This game does look hard to be quite fair. Really? I feel like it's easier to understand because it's like the little power-ups are all listed. I sense a disturbance in the force. Jarchi's here. 13 annihilation missiles. Oh my god, Jarchi. Shout out Jarchi. Slay. Could I watch? I don't know. Have you played... Azu, have you played Elden Ring before? I never touched it. Okay, yay! Then you can watch it. Yippee! I'd carry you. Seamless co-op. Oh, but if we co-opt, then I'll be like a little baby who dies 8 times, and then you're gonna be like, bro, what are you doing? And then I'll explode and graduate. Not good at games like this at all. I did buy Bayonetta, which I feel like is similar, and I fear playing it because I will suck. Really? I don't know anything about Bayonetta. I know she's really beautiful. I is her is it similar to this? Is it like you just beat people up?
I do.
Okay, hold on. I gotta lock
Besides,
in. I'm
making these
so
treks helps
not
pass the
locked in
time
right
during
now.
the ongoing underworld renovations.
I
And I'll
haven't
be
seen
in
how many
tip-top
times
shape once
Zora
they're
died
complete.
to Elden Ring. He nearly destroyed his last time he played. Yeah, but like, at least you guys know what's going on. I don't know. I just I don't think I have the game sense for it. So, cause like you guys play a lot of games that are kind of in that category, and I never have. And so I think I'd get tomatoes thrown at me. I know that she slays really, really hard. My goodness, and that's all that matters. I think you gotta open the game so that you can see her slaying. Beat people up, then pose the house down, boots on their decks. Wait, that sounds so awesome. You gotta do that. It's an action game where you beat people up, kind of like Devil May Cry-ish, I think. Oh, I never played Devil May Cry. I maybe watched you play like 10 minutes of it. I watched somebody play like 10 minutes of it.
Would that we had a little more support. The renovations could
Does
have been
it
complete
have like
by
a
now.
story?
As ever, you think only of yourself. But if you must insist like this, then you will find me waiting for you once you get here. Every single time.
Okay. Ugh. Let me sit up. Get Monsley out of my lap so he can have good posture. Okay. Hold on. She's like a demon hunter? Oh my god, K-pop demon hunters! I low-key didn't pay attention. I played it on my uncle's console. What does it being your uncle's console have to do with you not paying attention? Like, when you go to your uncle's house, you just like don't pay attention or what? Gamer post time? Oh, I'm sitting on my like shins. Like when I don't know. I feel like I can't sit up straight with my feet on the ground. Like I'll get really restless. I feel like I have to kind of sit on my feet. And then that like gets me closer to my monitor and like my back is straight. On your shins? Well, like I don't know. Maybe not like my weight's not on my shins, but like my shins are on the chair. You know, just like sitting. I don't know, like sitting on your feet, like on your knees, like kneeling pose almost. I think it has a story, but she just poses and catchphrase. She doesn't even need a story. That's so awesome. I don't read dialogue if I don't own the game. Why? What does Azu? What does that mean? I feel that not legs down on the floor. Yeah. I don't know. When I was in school, I feel like I could sit with my like feet on the floor, but I don't know, something about being at home, like I get too restless. I have to be tucked in. Crisscross on my chair is my gamer pose. Wait, that's kind of awesome. My legs will fall asleep if I do that for too long, but I do that sometimes. I usually just sit with my legs tucked in. But then my back isn't always the straightest. So this way my legs are tucked in, my back is straight. I'm not gonna play through the whole thing, so the lore seems pointless, so I just beat people up until my vacation is over. Aw. Man, but if you really locked in, you probably could have beat the whole game and understood the lore on your vacation. You just have to sacrifice some sleep. Okay. Okay. Wait, did that miss? That's kind of awesome. What? It looks like he's hitting me, but I don't think he was. Wait, come back. I'm scared. Okay. Ouch! Ouch! Oh my god.
You can't withstand me.
This is so hard. Ouch. I think he should just not be allowed to go impervious ever. Like, I got really brave and went up to him, and then he's just immune, and I think that's cheating. Guys, the gamer pose is not helping.
I'm empty.
He's empty. Sheesh. You clutch this? Yeah, I'm clutching. I'm clutching it. No! Oh my god. It might be cooked, but that's okay. I said this was a warm-up like an hour ago. And I stand by that. No! Okay. Okay, it could be worse. I can stand really far away and throw my little special at him. What? I don't know what to do about the green thing. It seems quite hard to avoid. What is that? Why are you glowing? Stop! Don't do that. You're stressing me out. Oops.
This must be the way to teach you discipline, then so be it.
Oh man, I'm learning discipline. Die. You're so warm after this. Oh man,
He's tough for an old man.
I'm so warm. Ah. Wah, wah, wah. Okay. Oh, thank you for the hydrate and stretch carrot. The time until I depart has reached 0. Have a good stream. I'll leave a lurk as long as my PC doesn't crash. That's so sweet of you. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Okay, well now I'm in like a bit of a predicament. Because I have to leave for judo in like an hour. And assuming I do a good job, this game does not take 1 hour for a run. It takes like 2 hours. Should I look at the warm-up was for judo? I don't know what
Your Highness.
I don't know what to do. I've only been live for like 2 hours because I had internet issues.
What news this time, lad? Did you find your mother once again?
I don't know.
No, I failed.
I
sir.
guess I can like
No
start a
offense to father.
run and
What
then
am I going to do?
it can save if we run
Just
out of
take it easy
time.
now.
Or
You got there once.
I'm like the
Wouldn't be a
fastest
question of
Hades
mine if you
player
could once again.
imaginable.
Father's
really?
orders, though nothing's
You're right,
changed
you're
since.
right.
So I hope
No
you're right.
time, no time to talk. Oh,
Over here.
wait. I need to
You're
talk
really
to him,
staying,
sorry.
Julius? I mean, between the generally ill-conceived attempts to reach the surface every so often.
There's surely an achievement for sub 1 hour.
I am. I figured
There's-
it's the only way I could continue interrupting you while you try to
There's
do your
gotta
job.
be.
You work too hard then. Live a little, right?
I haven't really looked at the achievements for this game.
Well then. I'll see
I
what can
feel
do
like
about
you're
that.
a masochist
You'll
if
have to
you're
show me what you
achievement
mean by
hunting in
live a little,
Hades.
I'll hold you to that.
Oh my god, he exploded! Okay, I don't need to hear what you're saying. I don't
Father's
like
still
you.
up there.
Oh my god!
Nix, have you seen Charon lately? Everything alright with him?
The
I
adamant
can never
rail
tell how
with
he's
aspect of
doing.
Eris is apparently the fastest speedrun weapon, if that helps.
Charon and I have not lately taken opportunities to correspond.
That's the
But he
gun.
has always been among the least dependent
I
of
don't know
my
the
children,
aspect of Eris
other than
is though.
perhaps only the fates.
And to be honest, I don't think the
I
speedrun
suppose you were the
strats are
one to
gonna
thank
work
for
for
his
me.
assistance when it comes to
According to
solving his parents'
Reddit! Sigh.
No, he is the one to thank.
Okay, what about
If I'm not
talking to
mistaken,
your
his lack of
mom for
speech
30
or lack of
minutes?
cleverness. He serves this house as
Where
I
does
do,
that fall on the
but he does not
speedrun
answer to me.
Reddit thread?
Doesn't answer to me either. What's cooking?
Your mother's didn't win? I don't have your mother. I gave it to
Use
you.
them wisely, my friend.
Okay, gotta go. I'm in a big rush. Oh, you're right. Yeah. This.
I need the rail.
For 4 seconds after absorbing your specials blast, deal more damage? I don't even know what that means. Okay, I'll try the gun. Oh my goodness, Aphrodite is so close. Okay. We're going, we're doing it. Oh, yep, looks good. Give us to your mother? Okay, well don't say that out of context. Can you please put quotes or something around it? Gonna explode. Do you have the aspect thing? No, but surely I don't need it. My mom wants to stream and that's crazy. Your mom wants to stream? Oh my god. Wait, let your mom stream. Help her set that up. That would be so awesome. You should collab with your mom. Special? Wait, I don't even remember what the special is. Can I collab with your mom? Surely. I see mom coming stream. Yo! Mama Wolf. Mom Stealer. I don't know. So yeah, I'm thinking really hard. I think I would date a mom. She wants to do cooking streams. We don't got the laptop for it. Well, surely she can just stream on her phone. Surely. I've seen people stream on their phone before.
How careless of me.
Oh, this gun is not optimal for breaking vases, huh?
Ready.
How do I reload? Oh, it's R. It's R if you even care. What? Wait, hold on. Hold on, I'm speedrunning, don't worry. This is not going excellently.
Let me have it.
It's okay, I'll get the hang of it. I'm warmed up. Man, I love them. If you look like them, DM me immediately. 34 max life? I think that's good. You're so warm. I love Smurfs. I love Smurfs. I was gonna put that in my tags, but then I was like, maybe that's like a little too weird. So I just put Smurf, I think. Ah! Hey, thank you. What? Thank you so much. Hey, I surely did nothing to deserve all that. Ouch. There's something that made the gun less horrible, and I don't remember what it was. Oh my goodness. If anybody plays this gun rail thing, please let me know. What? That's what I would say too.
Father won't miss a couple coins.
That's what I would say too if I was power hungry. Aw, man. Wait, what do you mean, aw, man? It's still there. Yo! Thanks. Thanks, I guess. Also, in my, like, redeems list, it only puts that one. It only put it once, so I don't know why in the chat it got so zesty. Ugh. Many such cases of scuff. Squeak! Ah! I see, I'm speedrunning right now. And you want me to squeak my little sock monkey at a time like this? Okay, give me a second. I'm not lying. It only took 300 points. That. Sigh. Tell it to the judge. Okay, listen up. Monsley will bust their run. Okay, here's his blessing. Oh, yeah. My final goodbye to Twitch and everyone. Goodbye, everyone. Oh, goodbye. Thank you for the hydrate. I hope you have a great rest of your February. Okay, I'm out of water. Nobody resume hydrate, or I'll kill you. Shrimp is lying like usual. Oh, I didn't know Shrimp was a known liar. They struck me as a bit of a truther. Maybe like a mischievous jester figure, but not a liar. Ugh. I see. Oh my god, guys, what did I just tell you? What did I literally just tell you? My goodness. What am I even supposed to do? My speed run. My speed run. Sigh. I don't listen to people half the time. Okay, well, that's good to know, I guess. Sigh. My source is trust me. Oh, I trust that source. I think that's kind of awesome.
I'll take that.
Okay, I guess I'm getting water. Sigh. Crying emoji. Throwing up emoji. Shrimp emoji. Flying money emoji. Wait, I rediscovered the flying money emoji recently, and it makes me laugh really hard. I don't know what situation that's used for, but I think we should use that more often. Okay, watch Baby Sensory. I'm gonna go refill my water, and it's gonna take 1,000,000,000 years, and you're not gonna complain about it. Oh my goodness, I got water. It's cherry flavored. Pretty cool, huh? Did I miss out on the dancing fruit or did it just start? Oh my goodness, hi Kaya. I hope work is going so good. I hope you liked the fruits. Dancing fruit is over. My goodness. That's a good thing, right? Like you're happy to see me, right? Man, there is one person who like Loki got banned. But they would only show up for the dancing fruit and then when I came back they'd be like, "Ugh, I'm leaving." Sigh. It's rough out here. Hi, Cozy. How's it going? Hold on. Um, 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 hold on. Where's my game at? Yeah, that's crazy. That's kind of insane. I know. Like it was. I don't know. I didn't care that much, but like after a while, it like low key hurt my feelings because I'd be like, "Yippee, I'm streaming for you," and then they'd be like, "Ugh, I'm only here for fruit." I mean, you can just like go to YouTube and watch fruit. Like, I don't know if they knew that. Feel for that. That's listen. That's valid. That's valid. But like, you don't gotta tell me about it. I'm gonna explode. I want a fast redux remix of that song. Of the one that was just playing. I don't think my voice sounds like that person's voice at all. Yeah? Oh. I would have never I never in a million years would have considered that one. But I'll consider it just for you. Emulate it with enough flops. Surely.
Rearmed.
Thost is back. ... Parentheses good. Wait, that's so cute. Thank you. I don't like mean jokes towards streamers, TBH.
Oh, I'm cursed.
I think it depends. I don't really mind. I don't really mind most of them. But it's, I don't know. I think it's gotta be a good mix. Like, if I know that you love me, then you can be as mean as you want and it's fine. But if you're only being mean, then, like, low-key after stream, I'm gonna think about it really hard. Get sad. I love being mean to her, though. Okay, well, messed up of you. Messed up of you. There's always a line. For sure, for sure. What? I don't know. For the most part, I don't mind. I feel like usually when people tease you, it means they're like... No. Like they're comfortable with you. I think this depends. Man, whose idea was this fuck-ass gun? I don't like it. The gun sucks eggs. There's always fellas that like going over it. Man, that's surreal as hell. But okay. I think there needs to be some rapport if you're going to be mean. Yeah. I agree. Or it has to be like really obvious that you're just being like a goober. That is so balls. Ermit was Reddit. Cozy my speed run. Sigh. It's fine. There's no way I was gonna finish this in 30 minutes anyway. Okay. Okay, back to Adjul, I guess. Cause he said I hate you guys. If you're not subbed, I'm sorry. Womp womp. Look at this fruit though. I mean the Senna because when she first she started bullying me first. Well, yeah. I don't know. I like being mean in like a teasing way, but I think you gotta know that it's obvious, you know? Time and place, I guess. Forever sad. I'm so sorry. I also I don't speak Korean. I low-key could not cover this. I think it would take me 8 years to cover this, and it would not be that good. Yeah, you do? Oh, my bad. My bad, I forgot. I feel like if you're being mean, you have to go the opposite way as well and actually show you like the person. Yeah, you gotta be like, haha, haha, you're fumbling the bag. But then when they win, you gotta be like, oh my god, good job. I'm so proud of you. That's what I do anyway. Blah, blah, blah. Oh my god, I didn't know that was Korean. Next person to be mean gets permabanned and slaughtered. I feel like there's a high risk of it being a mod. I cannot be having my mods getting slaughtered. Poo-poo head, that's a good one. Kaya. Kaya, you're going to jail. What if Frost is the one being mean? Oh, yeah, I guess it doesn't specify being mean to me. It's like mean in general. Oh, I'll slaughter her! Oh, does that not count as being mean? Door's unlocked. Oh my goodness. My door is unlocked. Because my apartment complex has like valet trash services. And when I moved in here, they didn't give me the like designated trash can, and they said they would give it to me on Monday. And so I went out my front door to see if they gave me my trash can, and they didn't. They didn't, and my trash can is full. Womp womp. I know. I'm standing behind you right now. That is so ominous. Please don't say. Awesome. That's so awesome. I don't mind being slaughtered. I put the laughter in slaughter. You're gonna die laughing? Okay. Kaya said, I'm the Joker, baby. Well, I have a contract to work with you. It's marriage? Don't look at this marriage contract, Would. Would you like to sign it? Cozy, is this a pickup line? Um. Head empty emoji. Zoe is standing there with a box of honeycombs, watching you snack on off-brand Fruit Loops. That is mean as hell. Man, getting mocked on for real. Man, I want honeycombs so bad. Why? Why do you keep bringing them up? I'm gonna slaughter Azu. Just have a bad ping. Bad ping. Stretch hydrate. Oh my goodness! Hi, thank you for the stretch and hydrate. Ugh. I won against my sister 11 times in a row. In Uno? When you guys play Uno, do you play with the zeros and sevens rules? And then follow-up question, do you play with the jump in rules? And then follow-up question, when you don't have a card to play, do you just draw one card or do you draw until you can play a card? All of this is very important. I am so picky about my Uno house rules. Like, I'll play with anybody's house rules, but I'll complain about it unless they're my house rules. Hold on. Hold on. Do you guys like that ad? what kind of ad did you get? I hope it was I hope it was a Red Bull ad. This British guy's bullying. Oh. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you had to deal with a British person in my chat. Okay. Draw until you can play. Stackable plus, +2, and +4. Okay, so you're saying you can stack a +2 on top of a +4? Like, even if it's not the same color? I can get behind that. Oh, no? Oh, then what are you saying? No 0s and 7s. We do stacked +2s and +4s and draw until you can play. I don't think I knew 0s and 7s when I had Uno. Yeah, I don't like the 7s and 0s. But I think if you play Uno, like, online, sometimes there's an option for 0s and 7s. You can stack +2s no matter what color, same with +4s. But can you stack a +2 on top of a +4? Like, if I do a draw 4, and I say that the color is yellow, can you put your blue +2 on top or no? To, like, pass it on to the next person. I kinda don't mind if you stack anything, because I like the number to get ginormous. What about jump-ins? You guys vibe with jump-ins? Like if you have the same... Like if it's not in the turn order and someone just played a yellow 7, can you like sneak your yellow 7 in there? That's how I always played. I used to... Low-key in high school, I would not eat lunch. I would just play card games with my friends. I would use it as like... little game time hour. And I played so much Uno, you would not even believe. And then we had to start like making up random rules because we just played it so much that we wanted it to be more interesting. And then eventually someone had a great idea to play spoons. Because they're like, we play Uno too much. But man, I hate spoons. Because it's like reflex based, right? My reflexes low-key suck. So RIP the Uno lunchtime extravaganza. You will be missed. What the fuck is a spoon? Spoons? You guys never played spoons? It's like there's... I don't really remember how to play it. There's like a bunch of spoons on the table and it's like you're playing a card game, and then when something happens, it's kind of like musical chairs where there's like less spoons than there are people, and everybody has to like grab a spoon when like something happens, and like if you don't grab the spoon, you're out. I think. I don't know. I low-key didn't play spoons that much because I didn't vibe with it. But it hurts because like sometimes your friends like smack your hand so you don't get the spoon, and then you're like, ouch, I don't want to play this anymore, this sucks, I want to play Uno. And then they're like, Fossy, we played 80 rounds of Uno, we don't want to play that anymore. And then you're like, man. The white rabbit got my Uno table. And as we all know, he fucks. This is so hard. Hear me out, 81 rounds. That's so real. Spoons you require 4 of a kind? Oh, is it kind of... Is it like gin? It sounds like a game that exists. It does. It does. I'm trying to think if there's anything else it would be called, but I've only ever heard it be called spoons. And I played it with different friend groups, so I know we didn't just make that up. Swissy under the pillow? That's only in the winter. In high school, kids played Cards Against Humanity with just all the slurs removed, I think. I don't know, I wasn't invited. That's so sad. I think Cards Against Humanity is fun when you are 15 years old, and it's fun the first like 4 times you play it because it's just so like what do you call it? It's like shock humor. But then after you played it more than 4 times, it's like, okay, it's just a game of like who can say the craziest thing, and there's not a lot of thought that goes into it. So I'm kind of a Cards Against Humanity hater. Do not invite me to play that one. Gonna sleep. Have a nice day. Good night. Good night, good night, good night, good night. I hope you sleep so well, Kosi. The white rabbit fucks Sora. Haven't you heard? Yeah. We established that. Please write that down. Once the spoon is grabbed, everyone must grab it. Yeah, I'm not very good at games where you have to react quickly. There's another one called Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza. That's kind of like reaction based. And I'm kind of bad at it, but I do like that one because it doesn't hurt as bad. Why is there a white rabbit in my ass? That's just how it is. Like, congratulations. Apples to apples is low-key more fun. I agree! Apples to apples, I feel like, is more... It's more of like a game. It's more strategic. I don't know, whenever I played Cards Against Humanity, and like I was the judge, people would just always use it as like a get Frost to say like horrible heinous things because it's like out of character for me. So people would not even be answering the plot or the prompt. They'd just be like, man, I just wanted to hear you say this horrible, disgusting sexual thing. You're like, okay, thanks. Thanks, I guess. This is so awesome. I'm gonna kill you. Hey, it's me, Animal Control. Let me in. What? Aw. That's crazy. That's crazy with the smirk emoji.
Number 15. Burger King foot lettuce. The last thing you'd want in your Burger King burger is someone's foot fungus. But as it turns out,
Tommy,
that might be
that's
what you
so
get.
awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. I haven't heard that in a while.
Keep it up.
Oh, I thought I died.
Bite out of me there.
It's like a bite out of me there. Me when I'm British. Cards Against Humanity just makes me feel like I learned how to be funny. That's kind of awesome. I feel you though.
Death approaches.
Death is inescapable.
Are we talking about foot lettuce? I
Heard you got yourself
don't
into
know.
another mess that
I don't
needed
know. I think
cleaning up.
Tommy is just feeling himself. Wolfpack style. Was it Wolfpack? Wolf mate? Mate a wolf? Wolf.
Let's see
Ow!
how quickly we can wrap
I don't
this
remember what it's called.
Let's see indeed.
Man, never base your build against what you see on Reddit, I guess. It's rough out here. This is why I advocate banning this man. You say that, but then you're always like, hey yo, Tommy, hop on. Which I feel like is giving some mixed messages. Wait, I am not winning whatsoever. This isn't even the weapon. They had the aspect thing? Oh. Yeah. I still want to blame someone else for this, though. I don't really want to be held accountable for this. Oh my goodness. Surely after the chaos thing is over, it will be easier.
This will go on the record.
This won't go on the record. Oh my god! Sheesh. Okay, one more encounter, and then we're chilling. Last time Tommy got me to hop on, he threw my rank game. Damn. And what game were you playing?
What's on
Huh?
offer?
Yeah. This is so awesome. Sheila Chaos carries, I think they do. I love them so much. But this lack of move speed is kind of sus. I think if I find a hammer and I can change something about the gun, it won't be so bad. Mobile Legends. Okay, well, can we get some Fs in chat for Azumazu underscores Mobile Legends rank? That's so silly. Shit, the mods can blow up my Animal Crossing control. Oh, Animal Control, sorry. I saw Animal and then the letter C and I auto-corrected it to Crossing.
Chaos boom evolved in
Oh.
effect.
Yeah, okay, this is better.
Looks like a good spot.
I think you should be more confident in what you say. There's no... You don't need to have your messages deleted. Okay. Thank you, Azu, for pinning it. FF. Sheesh. We are all in solidarity. What the...
Kieran's shop.
Oh, I can't afford it because I bought the fishing stuff. That's okay.
Kieran,
Fish is more
I always thought
important.
Olympians never consorted with chthonic gods such as yourself. But it sounds like Hermes is a close colleague of yours. You wouldn't happen to know why he's helping me, would you?
Wow, this is so insightful. I support your animal control escapades.
I'm sorry, mate. I mentioned no
Kind of
offense.
awesome. Kind of awesome. Oh, it just shoots through all of them. Man, I feel like this gun could be really nice. If I could, like, not have a magazine.
Hi.
If I could just shoot forever, that would be so slay. I like her. Ouch. Ouch. Oh my goodness, never mind, I don't like her.
You don't.
Ouch. Oh my god. Wait, we are not even halfway done. What the? Yeah! Sorry, I'm so locked in. What? You're making me want to play Hades? But yeah, you only beat up your dad one time, right? You gotta... Oh my goodness. You gotta beat him up again. Gotta dust that game off the shelf. You gotta play Hades and Pokemon Infinite Fusion at the same time. I think, like, split screen. No!
I don't think so.
Don't look at that. Actually, this is the warm-up. The last... the last run... What? The last one? The last run, where I was doing, like, a little bit okay, that was actually my real gameplay, and this one is the warm-up. Doing the warm-up after is a pro gamer strat. Oh my god. At the same time, yeah. So it's like you clear one room and then you catch a Pokemon. And then you come back and then you clear another room and then you catch a Pokemon. I'm alt F4. Yeah. Why is spacebar my dash button? Why wouldn't spacebar be your dash button? I'm sure you can change it. Look. I don't know what kind of freak bob you are that you don't like space to be dash. I think you could have it be middle mouse button. Wow. I hate that. But I'm just saying you could do it. You're doing great, sweetie. Your gun is booty. Yes! Sorry, I died twice. It's so over. Good night, sweat price. It's okay. If I get a hammer, I can fix the gun. Oops. Middle mouse? Hell yeah. What do you want dash to be shift? I don't know. What's your preferred dash? I'm a big fan of spacebar. Personally. Ah. Oh, she died. Slay. Just feel better. It's working. Thank you. Love getting glazed. Ah. Sorry, I pressed the Windows key. Now it's middle mouse. You opened my eyes. That is the most chaotic thing I have ever heard in my whole life. I guess if you have like side mouse buttons. Oh wait, that's what my special is. I don't know what the default special is. I guess you could dash with that. That would be strange though. Why dash with middle mouse? You can't attack and dash unless you use your middle finger to press it like a weirdo. You can't cast? What are you talking about? How are you holding your mouse that you can't do that? You have your pointer finger on your left mouse button, and your middle finger and the middle mouse button, and then your ring finger on your right mouse button. Right? Is that not how you're holding your mouse? No, that's so weird. Are you holding your mouse sideways? What are you up to over there? Surely I put scroll up, cast and scroll down, dash pressing middle mouse. Does it let you do
Might help.
attack on scroll up? That sounds kind of awesome. Oh my god. Check this shit out. You don't need to dash attack on the gun because it makes you stationary. Why does it let you do that? Pointer on right click. What? Middle finger on left click. You're holding it so goofy? Is your scroll wheel just like unsupervised? Like when you're on a website where you need to scroll, are you like moving? You're like sliding your finger over to scroll. So silly. Are you left-handed? Oh my god. I don't want to talk about it anymore. You left hands. I kind of believe it. Is anybody in chat left-handed? Where my lefties at?
Should help keep me going.
Wait, hold on. I'm trying so hard. Pointer on right click? Like they're crossed? I assume you mean your pointer's on your left click and middle finger. Wait, hold on. I don't know my lefts and rights. Or maybe you don't know your lefts and rights. Somebody doesn't know their lefts and rights, because that's not really how that works. I'm gonna tinkle you with both of my left hands. I left-handed band? No! No, I love my lefties. I use my mouse with my right hand like a sane person. Does that not feel weird to you? They're crossing their fingers while they hold their mouse. Wait, so is your scroll wheel unsupervised? Pointer on left click, middle finger on right click. I'm not going. Gotcha. Oh my god! Wait. That's so awesome. Did you know there's a picture of wait, there's a picture. Hold on, let me just look at the picture. Let me go to Azumazu underscores Discord server and look in the hand channel.
What are you CRYIN? Clicks right click with pointer finger.
That would have been so cool if if it didn't spill it out. Allow me to settle this argument, controller. Okay, next person in line. But you can't do a controller if you're just like playing. I don't know. What's a game that you don't use a controller on? And then if you're on that puzzle website where you like drag the puzzle pieces, you can't be using a controller for that. Hold on, let me look at this hand. There's literally a picture of me holding a mouse in there. I know, that's why I said I'm going in there. You think I'm just... you think I was randomly just like, I need to see a hand right now. It doesn't look weird in this picture, but I can't see your scroll wheel. I assumed this middle finger was on the scroll wheel. Nice veins. I don't know. I think your scroll wheel needs to be supervised. It feels normal. I'd be more uncomfortable using WASD with my right hand and my mouse with my left. Oh, I guess that makes sense. I feel like if I was in that position, I would not use WASD. Like, I would use the arrow keys, and then I'd use my mouse with my left hand. But I don't know, I'm not left-handed. Yeah, you would. Girl. I need to scroll wheel on purpose. Secretly it's on his pinky. Ew. That's so gross. It's a secret six finger coming from my palm. Ew. I don't want to look at that anymore. That's yucky. That's so yucky. Wait, hold on. I need to know. I need to run a poll. I feel like everybody has their middle finger on their scroll wheel, right? But like, why would you want to slide it over? Actually, I can. I have it set up that when I launch a game, the controller layout is for the game. When there's no game running, I can use controller as a mouse. Oh, well, you're just like fancy, huh?
Nowhere to go but up.
Okay, well, how do you hold your controller? Are you strangling you? My six finger, or as I'm strangling you, my six finger will poke you? That's gross.
Hot up here.
That's gross, and I don't like it at all. You don't need a scroll wheel that often, so when you do, just use your pointer finger for it. But look, I'm using my scroll wheel to attack. I have pointer and middle on my mouse. So, are your guys' ring fingers, like, falling off? Like, are your fingers just dangling off your mouse? Like, I hear when you move your mouse around, I hear fingertips like grazing your mouse pad. That sounds so uncomfy. They're gripping it? They're on the side gripping the mouse. Why are you gripping it like that? Oh my god, nobody agrees with me. This is so... Why are you guys holding your mouse weird? Wait, grab the bottle. I don't know. I like my scroll wheel to be attended. I like my whole hand to be on the mouse. And nobody's like flying off the side. And it's really regular. And when I'm on a website, it can just scroll up and down.
I don't know, Mel.
You're holding it like you only have 3 fingers? No, because my thumb is on the side. Because I have like extra... I don't know why I clicked it as if that like helps my case. But I have like extra buttons on the side of my mouse, right? So that's what my thumb's doing. And then my pinky... I guess my pinky is kind of like off, but it's not long enough to be grazing the mouse pad. So he's just kind of sitting on the side. It's meant to be held that way? My mouse even has rubber textures on the side for better grip. That's for your pinky. That's for your pinky. The little grippy thing that you're talking about is so your pinky doesn't slide down. To find out, she presses her mouse buttons on the side with her left hand, and she takes her hand off the keyboard for it. Bro! What do you want from me? I think I'm holding it regular. But I have like a basic kind of mouse. Like it has stuff on the side, but it's shaped like I don't know what shape this is. It's like symmetrical. Like I've seen mouses that like are kind of curvy, and maybe you'd have to hold that different. But mine
In the name of
Mine
Hades.
looks similar to how Zora's looks in his handpick. There's not enough space for 3 fingers. At the top of the mouse, it feels unbalanced. What do you mean? They're just sitting. Why are you gonna be better? You're holding it like a crab. No, I'm not. What? How long are your fingers? There's not enough room for them. Your finger... Where's your palm at? Crabby later? I'm trying it, it's so weird. How do you live like this? Can I see? Can you please post a picture of your hand on your mouse? Maybe your mouse looks different than mine. She has Jack's fingers from League of Legends? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what his fingers look like. I was half here earlier, but if we were talking about the gun needing to be better, there's a mod that auto-reloads, so when you're holding down the fire button, instead of shooting blanks, it reloads. And I guess that would be easier, but I don't want to download a mod. I just want to find a Daedalus hammer and, and it fixes itself. Setting this in the hands channel? Okay, let me see. Just play Lifesteal Sword. With the booty ass gun. I think I already won with the Lifesteal Sword though. Oh my god. I'm the only person that voted yes in this pool. Man, you guys are weird as hell. Okay, let me look at this hand. Why are you holding your mouse up? I think your mouse is small as hell. Or you have large hands. I see what you mean about your fingers maybe not having enough room for 3. But my mouse just doesn't look like that. Hold it up because you have grip. I can do that too. I don't need to grip it with my ring finger. I'm gripping it with my pinky. This looks stupid. I don't like the way you hold it. I think my way is better. Oh my god, I forgot it was scroll wheel. I was like, why am I not? Is this regular? Hello? Okay, I don't know what that was about. I have weights on my mouse, so it feels better to move, so it's a bit uncomfy with just the pinky. Oh, I don't have weights on my mouse. Did you put them there, or did it come like that? Gun plus Artemis to support fire equals all the projectiles. Wait, that would go crazy. Okay, I need to find her. Ugh. I really like. Ouch. I like the sound of the gun cocking. Sounds pretty nice. It's stuck on mouse wheel. No, I fixed it. I fixed it. Don't worry. I do kind of need a new mouse. Ugh. Not like urgently, but sometimes when I'm scrolling down, it like scrolls up. Well, I don't know. I think it's like we ignore the problem until it breaks, you know? Crap hands confirmed. No! Don't say that! I do not have crap hands.
Close call.
It looks so regular. It looks so regular. Well, I'm dead as hell. Even with weights you could add as you wanted. I put them all on in case I gotta make my... Because I gotta make my money's worth. That makes sense to me.
A palm of power.
Sinanor Crab X. Sigh.
Zesty.
Zesty.
Not finished yet.
No, I think this is regular, and I think you guys are weird. What if you're playing a game where like the scroll wheel is important? Do you shift? Like, how you hold the mouse, or do you just like wiggle your finger? Also, are you scrolling with your pointer finger or your middle finger? Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I think you should attend to that. I do go crazy. Fire off a seeking dart when attacking. Each bullet counts as an attack. There's like a swarm of little guys. I love little guys. That sounds awesome. Really easy to move the finger to it. I use pointer and middle interchangeably, depending on what's more important. Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be hard. It just seems like it would be unnatural. And I low-key have to go get ready for judo. Yeah, but I feel like I'm gonna die soon. I feel like I should just play until I die. Speedrun, speedrun! Oh my god. We're speedrunning. We're speedrunning. Look at this tech. Ugh. Just kidding. We're like low-key running into the lava. What? I wish I had Frost's big meaty claws. I don't think my hands are particularly big. I don't think they're particularly small either. I think I have pretty average sized hands. This is where I raise you up and I'm like, let's compare hand sizes, and then we have to put our palms together. And then it's like really cute. It's like, oh my god, we're holding hands. Small meaty claws. Average meaty claws. Thank you. Thank you for noticing my average meaty claws.
Next island.
Okay, after I go to this shop,
To spend some coin.
I gotta go. I'm broke as hell. Sigh. Wait, what is this? Can I have this? I've been told that he fights you if you take his thing. And I've never been brave enough to try it because I didn't want to mess up my run. But low-key, this run is like Lotus Cheeks.
Wow, thank you, Charon. Sorry.
We put our hands together. Fingers. That's so real. Oh. Erebus. Wait, this is pretty. Small class, humongo package. Okay, well... Oh, talk about? Bro, I know. You don't have to mention it all the time. Then you play Mercy and see who stronger hands ever is. What is that? Is that arm wrestling? Or you just like push? Steel, Chiron fight? He's gonna break my gun in half. It's Humongo, but return to sender.
Charon, look,
I don't
can
even know what to
explain.
say to
It's
that.
just,
That's
after all,
kind of
being accustomed to
awesome.
taking stuff throughout my father's
I think
realm,
that
I
suits
wasn't
me.
stealing from you, honestly.
Sorry, Jelly. It's okay, everybody is. Don't sweat it, little guy. I think I just got the best compliment ever from someone on TT. They called my art AI. Oh. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But
That was not an
I'm
understanding
glad you
sound.
took it as a
Wait,
compliment.
why are you brandishing your oar in such a menacing way?
He's gonna beat me up with an oar? Wait, this song goes
It's
crazy.
because you're going to kill me.
He's quite healthy, huh? Oh my god! Okay, it's fine. It's fine! I needed to die anyway. Hero Bob! Oh my god, hi! What is Hero Bob? Hero, you never even told me what that means. Your package makes chat conscious? I assume you mean self-conscious. Because the way you wrote that makes it sound like it brings them to life. Which is kind of awesome.
Wanted to say
I don't think that's what you meant. Judo, yippee! Wait, hold on. I have to talk to everyone first. Australia means both ways. Wow. Wow. It's so awesome. He's so warmed up for judo now. I'm kind of scared. Kind of scared for judo. I haven't been in a while. But it's okay. I'm gonna do so good. I'm gonna do so good. And my friend is coming with me, so it won't even be that bad. Wow. Okay. Sling. Yippee. 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 Posted the art. Now I go bye. Bye. Oh my goodness. Thank you for posting your art. I love seeing art. Art is my favorite. Oh my god, sorry. That was kind of sudden. Hold on, I gotta find someone cool to raid. I look up when our boss packages around Azu is right. Wow, that's so awesome. Did I make it to the end of the stream? You did! I have to go to judo for real, for real. But I appreciate you so much for being here at the end with me. Um, hold on. Hold on, I'm looking. Man, I feel bad. I rated Levi recently. But he's the only fella I got. But I guess that's chill. He's playing Hollow Knight, and I like Hollow Knight. So we can go say hi to him. Did you choose your signature move yet? Signature move? Probably a flying triangle. I don't do it that much, though. Unless you mean, like, the thing I want to work to get really good at. That would be Uchimata. I quite like those. I hope you had so much fun. Thank you for stream. Thank you! Thank you so much! Here's a raid message if you want one. If you even care, here's a raid message. And here's another one. Okay, I'm gonna go through some people and have a really good time. I hope you have a really good time too. Make sure you drink enough water and enough protein and get enough sleep. And I'll see you tomorrow. More Omori tomorrow. Goodbye. Thank you. Goodbye.